Morning, guys. Good morning.
Really good win for us, I thought, when you consider the environment. And I told the players yesterday, the environment was good. Number one, at this time of the year, I don't know who's, if we got a very good team, who has a good team, I don't know. It's hard to tell. But I do know a couple things. I thought that, number one, they got good tradition, which we know that. Number two, they got good players. So they had good players at positions and stuff. And so it's a really good win for us. We obviously overcame some adversity, which I'm excited about. And then it's really, too, not very often do you have opportunity, but we did in the first 2 weeks. We were losing at the half of both games and figured out a way to win both of them, both our first two games. So that was really good. Really happy about our defense and love the way we played. 58 yards rushing, and actually I had 34 attempts. So I thought we did a really good job against the run. We created 4 turnovers, which was exciting. Even scored a touchdown on defense. 5 sacks, 7 tackles for tackle for loss, So that was all good. The other thing we pointed out, too, to our players, and, going back and looking at the tape, you kind of thought so in the game, but I can't say enough about our defensive line. I thought we really kind of dominated the game, really, with our defensive line, if you look at it. And then we shouted out a lot of praise yesterday to our corners. When you look at the way we played, especially the deep ball, I thought our kids did a great job of challenging their deep ball against 2 good wideouts. And Walker Hubbard even got an interception. But, those 50-50 balls, they all went our way the other day. And I think that's important when you look at it in a game. If you're going to get in there and stop the run like we were doing or whatever, you're going to get those balls. And, Southern Miss definitely took their shots. We're happy, too. Donald Lewis is the Conference Defensive Player of the Week, which we're really excited for Donald on that. And offensively, it's just right now I think we're a little out of whack, and we have been for both weeks. And we certainly have to work to try to get out of that. I think the positives, we actually averaged over 6 yards a play. That's a positive. There's a little bit of production. We're just not sustaining drives. We did in the first week 1, in my opinion, and we didn't last week. Some of it self-inflicted. Some of it, whether it be Southern Miss or Southeastern, they made good plays. So, but we got some work to do on that side of the ball for sure. But I was hoping to start a little faster this year. We actually started about as slow, maybe not quite as slow as we did last year. When you look at our Memphis game and our Southern Miss game last year, we didn't start very fast last year offensively either, but we need to pick it up. Austin Vaughn came in and gave us some good reps. Marcus Green had about 100 yards again in receiving. So we have some work to do on offense, I think. We're seeing a couple things probably maybe a little bit different in what we generally saw last week, and one of them is we're not seeing much man-to-man coverage at all. And I think anytime you have that, quarterback has to hold the ball, has to look for windows, has to be a little bit more patient in what we're doing. But we're not getting a lot of man coverage really like we got last year in some of these games and stuff. And that's just something we need to work on. Special teams-wise, we pointed out yesterday, Jared Porter had 6 punts. He had a 42-yard average, which is good. Mark Deves came in and punted a couple times, and then got the one at the 4-yard line at the end. So anyway, we gave them a little praise in terms of what we did kicking. Give their kicker a lot of credit. They really negated any return game that we ever thought about having, which is the way he kicked the ball. And then a few of their punts with a low line drive, and then they did a nice job of crossing us up. Really, the first time they were always a move right, punt right team, and they actually. We were overload the side and blitzing. They checked out of it, and the guy turns around and whatever it was, 65, 70-yard punt the other way, which I thought was a big play in the first half because we had field position. So, but we're excited about the win. Again, we figured out a way to win the game, and I think that's what's important. And from an injury standpoint, it looks like we came out of it really good, we think. Austin Holly came out of the game. We don't think that's anything that'll keep him out of anything. We have an opportunity this week possibly to get Darian Ford back, which is going to be a plus, really add another guy up front for us. And so the injury situation is, knock on wood, but is a lot better after 2 weeks this week than what it was last week. So Texas A&M, huge challenge. I don't know. I've been fortunate to go to a lot of places and play, and I can't think of one that I've enjoyed more than Texas A&M. When you go to their crowd, of course, I like the tradition, the pageantry, the whole deal. It's just a fantastic place to play football, and we're looking forward to it. Huge challenge. I was thinking about it last night and this morning. Got up here really early this morning and was watching their tape and stuff. I give Coach Fisher and his staff a lot of credit for, really, if you look at it, at the end of the year, I actually taped their LSU game, and then I taped their bowl game. And when you watch it, it's to be able to transform a team basically in 8 months is basically what Coach Fisher and his staff have done. They've totally transformed their team into a physical football team when you look at it. And I'm not saying either style is better. I'm just saying he's taken a football team and totally transformed it into a fact that they can line up toe-to-toe and really, line up and run the football better than Clemson ran the football against that front. Turn around and hold Clemson to barely over 100 yards rushing. I mean, to take it and, and look at not just the formations and the things, but it's a lot of the same players, and transform them into more of a physical, in-your-face, tackling football team is impressive when you look at it, and to give them a lot of credit. But good players everywhere. I mean, you can ask about whoever. Both the quarterbacks they played are good. I mean, say Mond or whatever. He's a really good football player. I like their running backs. And toward the second half of the game the other night, especially toward the end, I mean, they had some receivers that really looked like they stepped up and came of age, so to speak. So, but huge challenge. But I think the main thing with us, and we talked about it last night, and we're going to do what we do, and that's what we're going to do, and I think that gives you the best chance to win. Plus, I've always thought in these games, and I told our players this yesterday, and I don't mind telling you whatever, but it's at the least we got to leave there a better football team. That's at the least. And so the only way to me to do that is you do what you do. And, I know A&M's got a big game the following week, so do we. And we need to leave there a better football team. And we need to get better at what we're doing. We need to get better at our travel routine. We need to get better on all three phases of the game. And I don't know how to do that when you try to reinvent an offense and a defense and a special teams in a week. You're not going to get any better for sure. Plus, I don't think it gives you the best opportunity in an environment like this also. And I'm saying this because, if you look back through the years, we did pretty good against some of these teams. We beat not a team. We never beat a team, I guess, never beat an SEC team. But, we won some games against FBS teams, and we scared a few. I think we were up 7 going into the fourth quarter against A&M the last time we were there at McNeese. And give them credit. I mean, they pulled away right there, and, I think we lost the game by 7 or something. But we were definitely in it, and stuff. And I guarantee you go back and look at the tape of that McNeese team, we did exactly what we do. And, so I've always told the players, it's not good enough. We'll get on the bus and go home. But we're going to go do what we do and play fast and play with confidence, and we'll see how it falls. So, any questions?
Coach, is it fair to say that last Saturday's defensive performance is probably the most complete since you've been here?
I think so. I guess I'm thinking back, and it was a game, and if you look at it, probably in a sense that we stopped the run. We created turnovers, which, we even scored on defense. I think that, if you look at it, and I was watching it, then I read Coach Collins' comments of the game. I know he's, still, we're giving up too much yards after contact, which, even in we gave up 2 on the last drive. If they catch the ball, tackle them, but yet the guy broke a tackle and extended the play. One time they broke a tackle and the guy extended the play and got out of bounds, and stuff. So I think that's still something that we got to look at and got to get better at. And like I said, some of it's self-inflicted. Some of it, they've got pretty good football players. I mean, every now and then somebody's going to break a tackle. But I think we're still concerned about that. They gave us, I don't know, a little bit different type of look, I guess, which I knew that. We talked about last week. I mean, I knew Coach Dawson would have a few things, that we hadn't seen. And, in the first play, the speed sweep out of pistol, and the way they blocked it out of the YY and stuff, we really haven't worked at. But we need to do a better job on that. And then the other thing they did, I thought a really nice job, was creating off of the read power game or whatever, getting the tailback out on the rail off the power game. I thought, because our guy would come up and support, and he would get right behind him, and it's a good scheme. And we tried to adjust to that play. But but getting back to your question, Chris, I would say yes, probably that's the most complete game we've played. And but the beauty of it is that when you can win and you can go in there and be positive, but yet there's a lot of things to coach. To me, that's a perfect game. You don't want to get in a game where everything went right and you don't really have a lot to be a little foul about too. I think that's good each week, being able to go in there and teach some stuff that you got to get better at.
Looking at last year, you go into Auburn, you go into Florida State, you guys are right in those games going into the second half. Is that you think that builds confidence for these guys going into another one of these kind of environments?
I hope so. I really do. And that's the main thing. I mean, we obviously, we prepare to win every game, and this game will be no different. But you want to go in there and compete. You want to go in there and have a shot and go in there and do what you do. And I always say, if it's not good enough, then we'll go to the house. But so hopefully it'll look more like that than it did my first year here. When which we were just out of those games. Really, and that's the thing. When you play a team like this on the road, I've always thought there were several factors. Number one, kicking game. You just cannot give up cheap plays in the kicking game. You cannot do it and stuff. And, so I'm always concerned about that because the expanded staffs and the whole deal, and, they're able to scout every little thing. And, I'm always concerned about that. The second thing I'm always concerned about is that, you have to be in as good or better shape than they are. If you're not, then they may run in a few more guys than what you have, and you have to be in really good shape. And then the third thing I think probably is key too is that you can't get behind early. It's hard in a place like that when you get behind early and they can just tee off on you, and now they're just kind of doing what they want. But the key is you hang around, you're competing, whatever, and then hopefully some of the games I've seen, they can get a little tight and get a little whatever. So, but in the games you're referencing, Adam, last year, we were in the game and we didn't get out of hand early. Auburn scored. We drove all the way down the field, took a lot of time off, and we scored. We answered. Okay, now let's everybody settle in and play. I'm going back to was that a couple years ago. We kick off, Oklahoma scores. We go 3 and out, Oklahoma scores. We drive down, whatever, Oklahoma scores, and then all of a sudden it's just, you're behind. And it's kind of hard after that, It's hard enough as it is. And then, you spot them 21 and, it's really hard.
Coach, this offense has had to outscore people the last couple of years to get wins. Offenses, as you mentioned, struggled. How nice was it for those defensive guys? They've been so maligned. Yeah. It was on their back, and they were the reason at the end of the game to make the plays to win.
I was really excited for them. I was excited, I think, to see our offensive guys that excited, for them. And you go back and, and you watch some of the plays that were made, and even on Cortez's interception at the end of the game. Our offensive guys are sprinting down the sideline and jumping and stuff. So, we just had to keep working at it. I've felt like, we've had some patience with it, that we would get better, and it's only one game. But hopefully we can build on that. Adam and I were talking after the game the other night, and I was telling the players that, what you hope to get out of it is confidence. I've never been a believer in momentum. I just never have been, because, if you have 2 bad practices this week, then momentum's done. But I'm hoping that give us a little confidence, and stuff, because there's no substitute for it. I was saying at the Pursuit, which I know a couple of you guys were there, whatever, that, I've studied like our basketball teams. I've really been impressed with Keith's done with our kids, and what's missing with us in a couple areas is a little success and that confidence as compared to, I think, what he's done. We play hard, we compete now, but there's nothing like having a little confidence, and the best thing for confidence is having a little success. And so hopefully we can build on that side of the football where we have a little confidence. Hey, people are going to make plays. It's not like we shut them out the other night. They made plays, but keep fighting, stay in there, keep battling. And that's what we did the other night that I was so impressed with. We overcame some adversity, and, they moved the ball. They got good players. I knew that going in, but then we just kept battling and battling and battling. And, kept after him and stayed in the quarterback's face pretty much all night, and even when he did get it off, we were harassing him, and we were right in there and stuff, and hopefully we can continue to do that.
How has Donald Lewis's game kind of evolved in the last 3 years?
It's one of the things, too, which we were talking about after the game. We're actually moving him around some, too, which I think has helped, him. And he's a starter at defensive end, and he plays defensive end. But we've also played him in our 4-down stuff at defensive tackle. There was a similar player that Coach Camp had at Nichols that was maybe an undersized defensive tackle, and that was an all-conference football player that was rushing more on the guards than on the tackles and stuff. So we've done that with him, and if you watch when we go to our 3-man stuff on 3rd and long or whatever, he's actually the nose guard. And the other night, he beat their center several times, and so, it's. I think he's, Donald's got more confidence. He's a good football player, but I think it's also helped him in the sense too that we're moving him around some, and just kind of gives some different looks to the offense.
Coach, did you ever think you'd see a day when you'd be praising the defense more than the offense?
Yeah. I've had a bunch of those where I came from, but yeah, that's great. That's a great thing, and really on both sides of the ball, though. I think there's things that we need to improve on offense, but it's at the end of the day. I'm not a big goal guy. You don't go in there and see a bunch of goal boards, and if you get this many yards or that many yards, the number one objective on the offense for me has always been you score more points than they do. 3-2, 49, 48, I don't care. And then the defense, hold them to less points, and that's the number one objective. So, whether it's either way, whether it's 21-20 or 10-9 or 49-48, whatever. Like I said, but a perfect deal for me has always been, especially early in the year, is you get to win a football game, you have adversity and have to overcome adversity to win the game, and then you get to go in there and correct a lot of things, because I love doing that. And I know all coaches do. We're teachers. I love to go in there and not get on them, but be able to go in there and correct things and teach things. Wow, look, we could be so much better if we did these things and stuff. So I think that was a good part of this game. If you look at it, even from a defensive standpoint, everybody praised the defense, and you should have. But Coach Collins gives me the defensive summary, and he had a whole laundry list of things that he didn't think we did well, and that's when it's really good.
With the bet between Peterson and Favre, do you anticipate Favre to be wearing that hat?
I don't know. I didn't know, really, to be honest with you. I just got a chance to say hello to Coach and congratulate him on their win Thursday night, and thank you for coming. And somebody took a picture, and I had to run in. So other than that, and then saw him a little bit after the game, but I didn't get an opportunity to really ask him. But I thought that was a neat thing, and very neat deal before the game, and certainly added something, I think, for both universities.
You've known Jimbo for a long time, and you studied football together and taken some of his things. So when you look at this depth chart, they say, now, do you kind of throw that out the window because you know how multiple they're going to be with all the different stuff they do?
Yeah, I've always been really impressed with what he's done and watched him through the years. And, was very fortunate when Coach Saban first went to LSU, before really a lot of people, and before they had such great success that he ended up having. But I knew some people there, and then, of course, Mike Collins was there or whatever. So I remember, I think it was the second spring they were there. They had 15 practices, and I think I was at 8 of them, and because our springs were a little different. And so it's very fortunate to get in there and have an opportunity to go in there and watch them. And I just always thought he did a great job. He's got a great understanding of, number one, I think the first thing is he's always had good quarterbacks. When you go back and look, whether it's LSU, wherever, and even back to when he was at Auburn before, he's always had good quarterbacks, and he's always had balance. So there's always an element of a Coach Fisher coached offense they're going to be physical. They're going to run the football, and if you can't stop the run, it's going to be a long day. But they've also had that passing, that they could throw the football. And then I thought, too, going into the game last year, we were going to play them the second week. So we had all that stuff, all the stuff from the year before, and then we turned around and played them the last week. So then we had all those games in between, and he is a great play-action coach. When you watch what they do, there's really 2 phases of it. One of it's play-action, whatever, however you want to label it, and then what he does a nice job of, too, which I call play-pass. You're actually running the play, but now you throw it down the field. So it's really 2 different schemes, Play-action is max protection and you fake the ball, but it's not really a fake run because you're not blocking the run. But what I think Coach Fisher's always done a great job of too is he does both, where he'll actually run the run play, pull the guard, run the run play, whatever, and then pull it out. It gets you, those every key that your safeties and your linebackers have. Say it's run, and then now they're throwing it over and stuff. So you always have to try to defend those. So very, very good coach. And I think Coach Dickey's there too, isn't he? Yeah. I mean, because he's done at Memphis and all that. So you kind of combine those two, and I'm sure they're going pretty good stuff.
Sticking with schematics, I don't know how much you've had a chance to watch them yet, but Clemson has probably 4 first-round picks, or on the front 4.
Yeah.
Be first-rounders. How were they able to have so much success, particularly in the second half?
I think he mixed it up, and it's. I think early in the year too. I mean, obviously Clemson's extremely talented, but Clemson played a lot of guys, and was running guys in and out. So it's probably, I'm assuming it was probably as human as it was in Hattiesburg, which it was really human when you got out on the field and stuff. So, but they just did a nice job, and once they got in the first half, they had some balance, but once they got the ball in the second half and got behind, and then I think they kind of gassed them out a little bit and made some good plays. But no, it's fun tape to watch. Really, and really fun if you don't have to play either one of them. But fun game to watch because there's a lot of good players on that field on both sides when you watch it. And so I've had a lot of fun yesterday and early this morning, like I said. And then you turn off the tape and realize, well, dang, I got to play one of them. So maybe it wasn't that fun, but it's fun to watch good football.
Coach, is it offensive, I guess, to be considered as a pushover team for Texas A&M? Because I was reading a couple articles from their sports writers. They consider ULM as a pushover team before they start conference play.
I mean, it's an SEC team, and I mean that's just no. I don't think that I'm not in their field house, but I don't think that came from Coach Fisher. So, whoever it's coming from or whatever. I mean, I think knowing him and just like us, I mean, they're going to approach every opponent the same, because it's early in the season for them. He's got a new coaching staff and all that. It's all about them. And that's the same with us. I mean, I'm sure he's telling his players just like I'm telling mine yesterday. I mean, at the end of the day, it's about us, and I'm sure Coach Fisher's approaching it that way too, that whether, it just so happens, I mean, he played Clemson this last week, and he's got Alabama next week, so I know there's some things that they got to work on, and I know he probably feels like they need to get better in some areas and stuff, so, but I'm assuming that's probably the position he's taking, and like last year, I mean, we went in and played Auburn, and they had Alabama the next week, and I even wondered, are they going to play all their guys and all that? Well, I mean, it's middle of the fourth quarter, and Kerryon Johnson's still running, and stuff. So, I mean, they, that's the approach I think you have to take, whatever whoever you're playing, and I'm sure that's probably what they're taking.
Having game plan for 2 of his teams at 2 different schools last year, how has he kind of adapted what they're doing offensively to fit their personnel at A&M?
It's pretty similar, really, to what they were doing, because if you watch his teams or whatever, I mean, they can just as easy line up in 22 personnel with 2 tights and 2 backs and 1 wideout as they can 10 personnel. Then they motion the back out to empty. So, I mean, he's always been, I think, had a diverse package and stuff in what they do. So, and they're still doing the same thing. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, they're going to give you a lot of different personnel groups. And the other thing they're going to do, too, is Coach Fisher's always done, but they can be in 21 personnel, with a tight end and 2 backs, but yet they line up empty. They'll empty the formation in 21 personnel. So there's a lot of things you have to check, and you got to get out of some stuff because you're setting your defense for that personnel, yet they're creating, an empty package out of that personnel and stuff. So, but so he's always been really good at that, and I know that they'll keep Coach Collins and them up this week.
Hey, Coach, in that last play of the game, or second to last play of the game, whenever Cortez Cisco picked that pass off, on that play from Abraham, what were we kind of thinking? What was your mindset?
Yeah, I don't know, really. We're just obviously trying to hold on, and I don't necessarily, but if you go back and look at it, I don't think you ever saw Cortez when you go back and look at the play, because coming out of the end zone, it's the same play they hit. Coming out, and they kind of got him out or whatever, and they spread us out. And that number 3 receiver kind of bent it in, ran a little bend route. So we went a little bit different setup structurally, defense, the 2 or 3 plays before that. So it was a great play, but I'm saying it's the same play. Then I think by the reaction and the way the quarterback threw the ball, I don't think he ever saw him.
Looking at their defense, have they played much man-to-man through 2 games, or do you expect to see that Saturday?
I think we're gonna, they do both, but they're a big zone pressure team. When you watch them, and then there's a lot of man-to-man to the boundary and stuff. They have that big long kid to the boundary, and so I mean they'll play some combination coverages to the field, but they do play a lot of man to the boundary. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.